I just basically want to get involved in something that would allow me to help make a difference in the community and hopefully in the greater world.
For me, games is basically a leadership program. It helped me a lot through high school and being organized and responsible. It just helped me be a better person in all.
More like a passageway or an opportunity in order to teach others and grow.
It allows you to be involved with the greater community at a very young age.
What you learn in games, you can translate to basically anything.
The thing about gambling awareness is it's not something you hear about a lot. If you're like watching TV or something, you'll always see a commercial about not driving drunk or, you know, just like drinking responsibly or not doing drugs. But gambling is also a big addiction problem. And even though it's not really a huge problem in Monroe, maybe part of the reason is because we have a program like this that prevented it from evolving.
If you think about, you know, drugs and alcohol these days, if the prevention had been put in place earlier, maybe it wouldn't have been a problem as it is today. You don't necessarily need to have a huge problem to put in a plan in case it were to get there.
You can gamble responsibly if you're the right age, but it's more about preventing the problem gambling from happening in the first place. So I think it's more prevalent than you'd think, but having a program like this really helps prevent it in the long run.
We're not anti-gambling, we're gambling awareness. So if you choose to gamble, we encourage you to do it legally and to know the risks so that you can make more informed decisions. So we don't have a gambling problem here, but we want our peers and members to know that there is help, there are resources for you, and that it really can be an addictive behavior before it gets to that point.
It's silly to think that people can only be addicted to something that's very cut and dry. People today are addicted to technology. You can go through withdrawal for gambling too.
One important thing to remember is that gambling is an addictive behavior just like drinking and doing drugs, and I think by not saying don't gamble or don't do it, there are things like, for example, playing bingo with your grandma. You're not saying, okay, you can't go play bingo with your grandma. That's different than saying not to smoke or not to drink. So I think by not being completely anti-gambling, people are more receptive to our message.
We know that people will most likely gamble at some point in their life.
Whether or not they necessarily see something as a potential problem, it's kind of stepping out there and trying to help people before it can become a problem.
Teaching them how to be safe about it instead of just ignoring like that there's even an option of someone going out and gambling.
The main aspect of it is the peer-to-peer mentoring. It's amazing how much better a message gets across from your own peers versus an adult.
It makes the message infinitely more effective if it's peer-to-peer.
It's a big difference because there's different levels of learning and experience. When a teacher or a parent or some older figure talks to you, it's more of a sense that they're telling you what to do, they're telling you what's right and wrong. But when it's a peer talking to you, it becomes more of a discussion, and you can come to conclusions together and learn by seeing what other people have learned on their own.
Kids tend to take it as adults are talking like at them instead of trying to teach them something, but when you have someone who's your age and like on your own level, it's like you're talking to them and trying to teach them, so it makes them listen more.
It's definitely more personal. You get more out of hearing it from kids than you do from an adult.
Through games, I've developed myself as a confident leader.
The leadership and being able to talk in front of big groups of people of all ages, it helped me a lot, especially for my college interview.
Besides the fact that you're learning information about problem gambling, you're also putting time into leadership and getting to know your peers, and just the activity itself is a good thing to do.
We took a trip to Wesleyan University where we presented the PSA to a group of teenagers who were attending a leadership conference, and that was a little nerve-wracking because I've never spoken in front of so many people at one time before.
Through games, we gave presentations to numerous conferences, elementary leadership conferences. There was a principals conference. There was one we did in Rhode Island about peers and support. So I've been discussing this message and presenting to people ever since.
I know it sounds like a small thing, but for high school students, I think it's a good practice.
And we're going to talk to them about the skills needed in life in order to obtain the skill of leadership. And we're going to talk about a couple key points such as communication and being involved in your community. And we feel that we're centering it all around communication, basically, because in order to get out there in your community, you have to be able to talk and represent yourself well, being a good role model.
Through teaching other people about leadership, I've gained leadership skills of my own.
I just really think it's important for anyone, no matter what you're doing, to realize that you do have something to share, and everybody has something valued to contribute, no matter who you are talking to.
Having another school start a games program is a great opportunity to open up doors through leadership.
There's definitely a need for games programs at other schools, and I feel that the first step to recognizing it is that the students themselves have to recognize it, which is very hard.
So it's something that needs more attention.